Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we're going to break down real quickly the trade that just happened. San Antonio Spurs get Kelly Olynyk, which is great. Now they have themselves Kelly Olynyk, Luke Cornett, the White Twin Towers. All right. You could say shake and bake right there. Victor Wembanyama. And to me, I like it. So the Spurs have acquired Kelly Olynyk from the Washington Wizards in a trade that sends them 2 former first-round picks in Malaki Branham and Blake Wesley. I love Blake Wesley as a prospect. We'll talk about Malaki Branham in a bit, but basically Olynyk joins a competitive Spurs team on a $13.45 million contract in an expiring deal, while the Wizards were able to clear the roster space, create some salary flexibility, and take some flyers on the reclamation projects that are Malaki Branham and Blake Wesley. Now, the thing is that the Wizards have also done themselves a pretty good job of putting themselves into position. Obviously, just getting talent and creating, opportunities for their young guys. And in the span of the week, they got themselves Cam Whitmore, Malaki Branham, and Blake Wesley, all former first-round picks. Blake Wesley and Malaki Branham will both be restricted free agents in 2026, and they both become rookie extension eligible up until October 20th. And Blake Wesley's on $4.7 million. Malaki Branham's on $4.9 million. Obviously, those two salaries combined is $9.6 million. That gave them, $3.9 million in savings. And Malaki Branham, as a prospect, was supposed to be kind of a swingman, a big scoring combo guard who could play also the three. He's a really good mid-range and shooter coming out of college. He had a really good NBA frame. And what ended up happening was really just every year he just kept getting pushed down in the rotation. And it's not that he didn't develop. Like last year, he became a 40% three-point shooter. Yeah, he averaged 5 points a game. His best season scoring-wise in terms of total and stats and all that was his rookie year with 10 points a game. Last year, or the year before that, where he played 75 games, being a 9-point-per-game scorer, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. He's got some skill, but the thing was always with him was he was like a 6'5" combo guard who could be a small ball wing, who was score first. Basically, kind of like a poor man, like a very similar skill set to Benedict Mathurin, but Benedict Mathurin is way better at everything else and a lot better at dribbling and creating for his own shot. And no offense to Malaki, I think Malaki could still turn it around. In comparison, Blake Wesley, dude, this guy was an absolute dynamo. Malaki Branham, by the way, was a first-round pick, but he was a first-round pick in the sense that, he went 20? Yeah, first-round pick. And Blake Wesley, I think he was fringe lottery. He was full-on lottery. And coming out of Notre Dame, this guy might have been one of the fastest players to come into the draft. And he's only 22 years old. And a really hyped up Notre Dame player. He's like 6'3", 190 pounds, 25th pick. He wasn't the lottery. I don't know why I thought, but he had lottery buzz. And he had some defending ability. He was a guy who would get to 0 to 60 in like a second, it felt like. He could go and be a bull in a china shop, and he's gotten better at playing with more control to his game. So I think that was always the big thing with him, and that would help holds him back. But if we look at both teams' depth chart, and obviously, like I said, Kelly Olynyk this past year, and by the way, Blake Wesley, he didn't really play this past season. He was kind of regressed into like being a reserve in the sense that, again, the Spurs have gotten better and they didn't fit the timeline anymore, so they got pushed to the end. And his rookie year was the most minutes he got, and he averaged 5 points, but the percentages were terrible. And the thing is, the three-point shot hasn't really come around. That's kind of what's held him back from being a guy who could be like a constant contributor. So that's been the biggest thing there. As this past year, he averaged like 4 points, 1 assist, or 2 assists, a rebound a game. Now, Kelly Olynyk was somebody that I think a lot of us, this past year, he played for 2 teams, and he was someone who can stretch the floor, pass a little bit. He's always been someone that I think people have been impressed how he scaled up. By the way, the Wizards, Bub Carrington, CJ McCollum, Bilal Coulibaly, Keyshawn George, Alex Sarr, Marcus Smart, Trey Johnson, AJ Johnson, Chris Middleton, Justin Champagnie, Rayshawn Holmes, Cam Whitmore, Will Riley, Corey Kesper, Blake Wesley, Malaki Branham, Dylan Jones, Jameer Watkins, and Jalen Martin. I really like that team. Hopefully we bring back Tristan Vukovic because I like Tristan Vukovic a lot. And as I said, at the Spurs now, they got themselves Kelly Olynyk, who this year averaged just under 9 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists on 50% from the field. Solid three-point shooter. And getting themselves Luke Cornett, Kelly Olynyk, they've got multiple players. And the Spurs, obviously, we knew they had that logjam at the guard position, and they've, and a shortage at the center position, getting Olynyk on an expiring deal. And they had CP3 last year as a stopgap. It's a great deal to put themselves in position. They got a guy who's near 7 foot tall in Kelly Olynyk, and he's a guy that I think is going to be able to come in here and really help this team. Now, obviously, he's a perimeter-oriented big man. He's going to be shooting threes. He's going to be passing the ball a little bit. Really top-seller reserve. He's a decent playmaker. He's got some tricks up his sleeves. Obviously, he's better defending, I would say, as guarding 4s than 5s, but he is an instant offensive player off the bench, especially if you look at the Spurs roster currently. De'Aaron Fox, Steph Castle, Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, Victor Wembanyama, Kelly Olynyk, Luke Cornett all make up the 3 big men. They have Jeremy Sohan, Keldon Johnson, Julian Shimpenny, Carter Bryant, and Dylan Harper. There's still a need to fill out the roster. They still got 3 spots, which I wouldn't be surprised if it's Harrison Ingram, Riley Minix, and maybe they bring back David Duke. He's been around. But yeah, that was just my thoughts there. What did you guys think of this deal? I think it's definitely an interesting one, to say the least. I think it's one of those deals where it seems like, most parties involved that, look, I think this is the kind of deal that you do that both teams win. In what sense do I mean that? I personally believe the Wizards got 2 former first-round picks. I think Blake still has more potential, and they need to figure out, like, Malaki Branham fills in, their swingman wing position, while Blake Wesley gives them another guard to swing on, and I like that. So to me, that's basically my 2 cents on that. So Wizards trade Kelly Olynyk to Spurs for Blake Wesley, Malaki Branham. That'll be the name of the video. And if you made it to the 8-minute marker, I appreciate it, guys. Bye. That was basically it. Bye. Ciao. Well, we have 5 minutes. 5 seconds. So, bye. Now, I gotta edit something, aka CCTV.